So for our audience members who are not as familiar with, off-road motorcycle racing, break this down for us. So what's the difference between Supercross and motocross?
Well, Supercross is kind of been the offshoot of the original motocross, and motocross itself was started years ago, and probably way back in the late 20s, 30s, I don't know when people started riding bikes around on
Yeah.
tracks, but it really took off in the 50s and 60s, and then by the 70s, where it was really full on, and all the tracks are basically natural terrain tracks. So it's wherever you go, if you have a rolling hill area behind your house, or in a field, you'll have this nice track that follows a
Yeah.
up downhill and arounds and jumps and things that are sort of more man-made. And then later in the I guess it would be late 80s. I get my years right here, but
Yeah.
Supercross came as some of the promoters got together, and there's a few that can be named, but that came up with the idea to let's put this in a stadium. So when you're out in the middle of nowhere, so to speak, watching a race and it's dirty and trying to get your wife to come or your girlfriend or your family, it's
Sure.
if you're not into the sport, it's hard to get people. So that was one way to make it a little more popular, and we're able to bring it into a stadium where it's a little more visual, and you can go get your popcorn or so maybe
Yeah,
not the
absolutely.
originally not the true hardcore fans, but it's got a huge following now, and so we basically have January through May is our Supercross season, and that's where
Uh-huh.
everything is in a city with a stadium across the U.S. And then starting in May until through the rest of this till September, we'll have races that'll go all across different parts of the country, but all natural terrain. So it's all kind of rolling hills and jumps, and it's but we call it national caliber tracks. So they're made specifically just for this kind of racing.
And how many riders typically in one of these races at a given time?
Well, we have a 250 and a 450 class. They're four-stroke bikes. These the old days they were 125 cc and a 250, and those have kind of evolved to four strokes now. And those are going across the sorry about that. My phone's
That's
ringing on the
okay.
background.
This
You
is life.
cut
It's
that.
real life.
Yeah, it's live, real life. But the in the outdoors, there's a 40 gate drop, and that's the exciting part is when everybody's lined up 40 riders to a gate, and the gate
Oh,
drops,
wow.
and they all rush out into the first turn, and there's this massive funneling effect into the first turn,
Yeah.
and that's where usually a lot of chaos can happen.
Yeah.
And that's how it originally started, and that's you have to qualify for the different races and things. So the starts are one of the big things there, and it's a much bigger field. So, and then for Supercross, there's still two classes. It's basically one 250 is more of a junior class, so to speak, but they're still professional, and into the 450s, and they're 20 per gate for that race, 20 to 22.
Gotcha. Do you hold your breath a little bit at the start of each race? So you're like,
Yeah, that's where
could
we kind
we?
of like, oh, yeah, I don't. I'm trying because there's so many people. There's so many chances of having
Right.
a big pile up. So unfortunately, that's kind of keep your fingers crossed behind your back, and we all like to see a nice clean start. Everybody gets out, and then the whole race begins from there, and everybody's playing
Right.
catch up to catch the guy in front of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And how fast are these bikes traveling at?
Well, speeds are kind of relative because they jump a lot. So there's
Uh-huh.
and even the motocross now that they kind of build jumps into the terrain of the track as well. And so the speeds like 20, 25 an average smaller section up to maybe 50 miles an hour before some of the jumps. But some of the jumps they will jump over three different obstacles at once, so they won't
Wow.
even land at the two in the middle, and they'll drop on the backside of the third. So they're getting a lot of air time. So they may jump 100 feet sometimes, 70 to 100-foot jump, and it's lap after lap after lap. It's amazing to watch it. They're so good at what they do, and just watching them touch the brake, the clutch, things they do just while they're in the air. It's kind of a ballet dance, and it's very
Yeah.
attractive to watch, I think.